They have a lot of energy. There's a problem.
Okay. Welcome back, and thank you so much for this wonderful film, which has indeed, like you said before, an enormous dose of vitality and life, despite the fact that there is so much sadness, grief, and the old surrounding death. And Vicky is an important factor in this. Yesterday, when I asked why people should be here today, you also said Vicky.
Yeah.
We will come back to that, but I would like to first ask maybe about the source material, because a theater piece, when you see the film, you don't imagine a play. Can you tell something about how you encountered that piece and what made you decide that you could see a film in that?
Yeah. Claudine Galéa wrote something that she had imagined for theater. She had already written some pieces for theater. That was 17, 18 years ago that she wrote it. And it was never performed. It was never done. And a very dear friend of mine who played in my first short films, we know each other for a very long time, he wanted to mount that let's say play, but I should bring you the book. You would see how it is written. It's almost like a graphic thing, where she plays on the fact that sometimes sentence enter another sentence, sometimes the dialogue are said by characters that are called A, B, C, D, like an antic core, that would know something, like a rumor. Sometimes it's only monologue. Sometimes it's realistic, normal dialogues. The kid, for instance, Paul, he would express himself only through poems or songs. So already there is something in the way the play is graphically on the page shown, where she's experiencing new fields, and this friend didn't do the mount the play, and just gave me the book like to say goodbye to something that was very precious to him and that he will never do, because life was cruel for him and really he couldn't do this play anymore. And you just, when a dear friend gives you something, and I just, I just got something that just made me cry, like a baby. Not like a baby, like when you cry when you're a child and you can't stop, and something that doesn't happen that much in adult life, And okay, but I didn't think it would be a film at all. But then, thanks to producers, to Yael and Laetitia, who produced Tournée, who are extraordinary friends, and we hadn't done films together for a long time. There was La Chambre Bleue, it was Paolo Branco. La Barbara, it was another producer, so they were furious and they're possessive. We love each other, so it's okay. Then what do you have now? I have nothing. I don't know. I have nothing. I don't know. I read this. I don't. But there's no cinema in it. But I don't. And so they read it, they love it, they cry, and so. Okay. Do you think I can try something? Try. That's all. I tried to take paper. And, and that's the only moment where you think that you are Jesus or something, and you transform it into wine, you just, okay, it's paper, and Okay, let's do sound and image. Just sound and image. In fact, that's all. Adaptation, I mean, except sound and image, what else do you have, no? Mm-hmm. So, it's very concrete. Mm-hmm. So you just do a list of all the objects that is in her play. And you see that there's a piano, you see that there's a lighter, you see that there's a wooden horse, you see that there's a diary, a car, lots of little things like that. And that, in fact, those things are maybe what we call reality. And there's a need of reality, because that's what maybe she's doing. That's why I had this painting of Robert Bechtle, where you can still think it's a photo. It's not a problem. There's not the revelation that it would be a painting, but in fact this poster was where he painted always his wife and his children, very banal scenes where they're eating ice cream near a highway. It's a painting. So I thought about that. Why does a guy who has his wife and his children in his house has to spend 3 months in the basement painting his wife and his children like if they were real? What is this pulsion? What is it? Why do you have to reproduce exactly the cornflakes and the thing? And I thought it was maybe exactly what she needed to continue her delirium, in fact. But it's a delirium. And sometimes you really need to be crazy to be able to continue, to put one foot yeah.
But still, like, you know, the first third of the movie, you think about it's a woman, about a woman who left. You know, and then you know, you again, as an audience, also start to put these pieces together, but
some don't even do that. It's very funny because in France I wanted to, because the cinema was opening, you know, so I spent almost 2 months going in cinemas and listening to people, and it was extraordinary, all the stories. Yeah. Extraordinary.
But it's a very nice. I mean, I watched the film 3 times, and then
it's very different the second time.
It's each time a completely different reconstruction, actually.
Yeah, because everything is said, in fact.
Mm-hmm. But is this also in the play, that, or did you just use the elements, the building blocks, so to speak, and then deliberately work on this idea of the imaginary, the reality, and then just shuffle?
What Claudine, the simple, so beautiful thing she invented is the inversion. That is, if it's the story, in fact, of a woman who does her own scenario, her own film, pretending that she is leaving the house. In that way, she can invent that they stayed. That's all. She just turns the thing around. And that's extraordinary. That's so simple. And in the play of Claudine, the thing that maybe we modified in the editing and also in during the shooting was that you had a sort of, it was really during the whole thing a woman who was imagining, or not imagining, that was thinking of her family living without her. And that the children were growing and continuing to live without her, with the loss. And only at the end, there was le renversement.
The reversal.
Yeah. The script was written like that. I started to shoot with this script that, of course, everybody loved because, wow, there's a shift, usual suspect. I mean, for people who give money, you know, wow, there was a script for once in my life. I had a script. And so, and then because we shot in 3 periods of time, because we had to, because of the mountain, the snow and the spring. And so we shot also in autumn, and I could edit with François Gédigier between, and I could be a bit a spectator, and we felt that we had to give back the film to Clarisse. That in fact, it was beautiful if there was not a director or an editor, that she was the projectionist. She's projecting things. Uh-huh. She's editing things. So we brought back things earlier in the film.
Actually, when you were here in June 19, you were saying you just filmed now I only understood it in retrospect, the spring and the melting. So you started actually...
We started by the end.
But with the end.
Yeah.
But you said also, since you were doing this editing in between these 3 periods, that it gave you also the possibility to rewrite in a way, to How did this, how did this work? How did this change then, apart from this trying to, return her the movie?
I just react as a spectator, and it's the best place to be. And you just, so it's not your film. Doesn't matter, and you just react and you find it. I didn't want to tell. At the moment after the first shooting, because we started with the deads that come back, and everything, and poor Vicky. And she was sad. She was always, and then you just, it's not the story of a saint or a martyr. No, so it was then a sort of reaction to bring back the body, I don't know, something physical, something I was in love with her gesture of imagination, in fact. So imagination, you can, if she wants to see her husband naked, she can see him naked. Oh, he's a bit older, so we take a bit more hair out. And, he's a bit fatter. And then, so the daughter, let's say that, of course, she's older. He can't be naked in front of her. Yeah. So she has to bring some humor in her imagination. And to have bad thoughts. The kids, I wanted to get them out the window, and he was boring sometimes. And of course she wanted to leave. We all want to leave. We all know exactly how we have to leave the house. We know which door makes noise. We all thought that you have to leave your phone. You know that. We all did that. So it was like doing something real, and she wants to see if some blood is still going in her veins, and touch a man or something, just to see if something. But he has hair, and he had hair, so it brings her back to him, and then it goes to a breakfast, and they seem to live very well without her. But again, she's imagining all that. She went too far in imagining. But when you see the film, what is incredible, it's like cinema. That's why I thought there was something really fascinating, and I could play with film, because it was a phantom film. It's shadows.
Ghost story.
We know that there's nothing there, but we believed in it. So if we believed in it, that means it's real. It's like God. And so that's what she's doing. I continue that they are real. And when she comes back at the middle of the film in the house, because her first inversion, in fact, doesn't work anymore, she finds another trick. And she goes in the school with her little daughter, played only Élise letter, la lettre à Élise. And there's this music, and there's this older girl. And when you see the film, that's what's incredible. It depends on everybody, but everything works. It's her, of course, it's her daughter later on, like in an old mellow film when, she finds her daughter. But then you can feel in the same time, no, there's something that is not exactly right. And then in the breakfast scene, and so she takes this girl, closes her eyes, puts her in the house. It's like when you take a piece of skin and you have to put it on your arm and see if the graft works. And it works. And so it's, thinking of things like that. And with always the fact that it wouldn't be so clearly explained, so that the mind can go wherever it wants. Some people who unfortunately lived horrible things in their life, they feel it at the first image almost. Some people continue to believe that in fact she pretends that they're dead. That way she can stop her culpability and leave really her husband. Some people really told me that. So that is great, because that means that their obsession is, I have to leave my man. I want to get out of the house. So it tells something on where you are in your life. If you lost a child, people just see immediately. When in the gas station she says, I see them. In fact, everything is there, but it's under skin. And cinema has a way, even if it's only 2D, like this, there is layers that you can, with sound, with image, with framing, with acting, with light, with editing, there's a lot of ways to create something that I think very close to what we feel in each moment of this fucking reality that we're in, that in fact sorry doesn't exist for nobody. We have three things in our head all the time in the metro, it's crazy. We have to have parallel lives. It makes us think other things. It's association of. So I thought that cinema could be. That's how this paper could be something maybe.
But
physical.
Yeah, but this is also the beauty when you watch it again and again. That even the things like in the petrol station.
Yeah.
The first time that the chopper goes over and she looks up.
Yeah.
But again, it can be so many different things, and it each time opens another way of other possibilities. And actually, the one with my last viewing, the shot when she at the very end, the shot taken from the window inside the house. Is a very, very, how should I say? It's a very, very hard thing.
I know. And we did several versions of that shot. And that's why ideas are often something, idea is something very dangerous. If you have ideas, It's the beginning of the end. And so that shot was starting like that with the car, that end, and then, oh, beautiful idea, it would go traveling on the false painting, on the painting. That's an idea, you know. And fortunately, I did one without doing this traveling, you know. Yeah. So what I felt also is that it's like, don't leave us with the dead in the house, please, because you feel you're in the house. So no, take us with you. We want you to continue your imagination, please, 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 please. And I wrote really the film with this music of Rameau, the gavotte, because it's variation, it's always the same theme. And I thought of things from Deleuze that he wrote on Ritournelle, the fact that you can't get rid of what in English, I love this expression, earworm, something that you just can't get. And her earworm is, of course, they're under snow, okay, but there is hope. And hope is the hardest drug on earth, in fact. With hope, you can do, I mean, they're alive. Or maybe they didn't die. Or maybe, maybe. And so you continue, and I couldn't finish the film like that, because I was with this last variation of Rameau that has this sort of energy. Da, 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 and it goes and goes. It's like a horse. And it was always, she's going to be okay. She's going to be okay. And that's why really I needed this last shot on her in the car. That we wanted to continue to be with her. Some feeling like that, because then it would have been a mausoleum. And in Claudine's play, it doesn't say things about that. I invented the fact that she's selling the house, but for me, of course, she has to continue the go somewhere, just go away for real this time. Continue, as she says. On continue, on recommence, we start again, and. Yeah, but I mean, that's why it was Vicky, we always say, it's our film. It's really our film.
Did you immediately think?
Yeah. Immediately. She just, it's like Jeanne d'Arc, I was in the house when the producer told me, you can try, okay, I live in Brittany, so yeah. And after 1 day and a half, I had seen Phantom Thread 3-4 months before, and when I saw Phantom Thread, I don't really remember the film. I don't really care, in fact, about that film. But I saw that girl as a waitress the first time you see her, going from out the door. And it's a simple pan, and she goes to give food to that bastard, Daniel Day-Lewis. And that happens sometimes. It's a miracle in life, It happens sometimes in the street or anywhere. Like, we know each other. I know her. I can't tell you. It's nothing to do with a good actress. It's not that. It's I know her. She knows me. And I felt it. And what is strange is that if she hadn't been a waitress, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know. And of course, waiters, waitress, all the people we cross in our life are very important for us. We always believe that we will be chosen. No, it's true. We always believe in the encounter. That is the miracle of life. And so I went outside of the house because there's a thick wall in Bretagne. So with the phone, I found that she had an agent in Paris. And the guy, God, he answers. That never happened, you know? And so, of course, with my name, it's easy. And then he says, well, she will be in Paris in 3 weeks. So we meet. And I had nothing to give her except the book of Claudine. And then we saw each other the next day. She had read it in the night. And we totally forgot to say, will you do it? Or, you know, it had to be, it had to happen. And the producer, the two, Yael and Laetitia, they would always call us the twins. And that's why she's called Clarisse. In Claudine's play, the name is Camille, and I changed it to Clarisse because I'm totally obsessed with Robert Musil, and I'm leaving tomorrow to Klagenfurt, where he's born, to be in his manuscript and everything, and Clarisse is one of the characters in The Man with Qualities, der Mann ohne Eigenschaften, and it's a woman that at one moment leaves everything, just goes away, and has to deal with craziness. And there are sentences that she says that in fact come from der Mann ohne Eigenschaften. When she says, for instance, I have to do everything alone. I have to do everything by myself. Yeah, that's Clarisse. And Vicky, for instance, always had in her bag as a character, because that's why I thought it would be nice that she's a translator. She always had der Mann ohne Eigenschaften, that's a 2,500 pages book in her bag. She had that and a perfume that Vicky likes to choose secretly for each character that she plays. Really? She imagines a perfume. She does things like that. Or she could send you before the shooting or sort of Spotify music list of what inspired her. And there wasn't Cherry in that list that she had sent me. And Cherry arrived during the scene in the breakfast, where there was sort of improvisation, because she was in another room with a mic, and she could see them in an image and hear them. And Arié was the only one to have an earplug, and so she could talk to him. And for me, it was a scene of seduction, because he doesn't want to hear about her anymore. They managed to live without her now. So for 6 months, maybe he managed not to think about her wife who left, and he doesn't know where she is. And she's in his head again. Shit. And so she has to seduce him. And that's why she sang Cherry to him. And then in the editing, I asked to Vicky, what's the song you invented? That song, I don't know, Jerry, I don't know what you say. And she said, oh no, shit, it's Cherry. It's GGK. Oh, it's gonna cost money, I'm sorry. And then that's why for the next shootings after, in the car, when we decided for the third period, where I said to Vicky, you know what, I'm sick about this story. we forget that you lost your family. We're going to have fun now. So you're going to meet men, and you're going to sing, and I don't know. And so that's why I said, sing Cheery again in the car. And so it's things like that. That's why it's totally our film.
She's also sewing the drawings into the...
Oh, yeah. My job was maybe just to find gestures. Like, I had a list of things that she could do when she's driving. What can she do? Play with the radio. Like if the radio was a space thing that she could communicate with them. So then you think, oh, maybe she puts the antenna back, and because it goes, and then she takes a cassette. You just invent things like that. And she loves, Vicky, for instance, loves that you talk to her during the takes. That you say, do this or this. And she's such a great driver. We couldn't have done a film. She loves to drive, and she loves to drive old cars. And because this car, we were in love with this car. But why would a girl like that today have a so beautiful car like that? I had to find how to justify that. And because the first AD would ask me, you have to choose the car. I know I have to choose the car. But the modern cars, she's so beautiful. I'm gonna do cinema. And then I thought, of course, of Rain People from Coppola, the story of this woman that leaves the house. And that's also how Vicky works. Vicky, of course, you're scared when you meet her because you think you have to have ideas. So you said, I work, blah, 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 and this, and I have influences. And I said, oh, maybe if you look at Rain People, okay, thank you. And so she listens to me telling the story of Rain People. Yeah. And then during the shooting, sometimes I would even say, it's like in Rain People, yeah. And we even shot a scene where the character was going to see Rain People.
Really?
Yeah, and in the editing, we had the images of Rain People in the telephone booth, when she calls her husband to in fact tell him that she's pregnant. And she doesn't know if she's ready to have a child. That's why she left. And in fact, after the first edit, we felt that we didn't need that scene. It's like when you do a building, you construct and you have des fondations, you have scaffolders, yeah. And so, in fact, Rain People was a scaffold for me, and at one moment you take it out and it seems to be okay. And you feel that you take out the ideas, in fact. You don't need them anymore. So it took out. We didn't film it. And for me, it was like when Anna Karina is looking to Jeanne d'Arc in Dreyer in Vivre sa vie, And like if she had understand something of leaving, but we didn't film that. And then I think once the film was finished, edited, everything shown in Cannes, everything, and one day she said, I just looked at Rain People because I preferred to just be on how you were telling me. How you were telling me the story. I didn't need to see the film. What was important is how you tell me the story.
Beautiful. Yeah,
she's... And Arié, it's another way. So what's amazing also is how you have to take what each actor brings you. Arié, he writes everything. He takes notes. And so I talked a lot with Arié, and it would force me to really write the script. Because he would ask me very simple questions, and I had to give him an answer. But when does that happen? Is it before or is it after? Is it real? Is it not real? Is it... Il fait chier, putain. You have to make a choice. So it helped me a lot. And children also. Children, we felt that it would be beautiful if they are real pianists. So Franzo, who did the casting, went to find and to search and to meet pianists. And Juliette and Anne-Sophie are pianists, so all the music is live. And that's changed the set also. When all the music is in real, on the moment, it gives something just incredible. It had to be. And that's also why Vicky cries and everything, because she was there during the shooting, so she could hear all this music. And then she said, at one moment, I didn't even think about that, in the fucking reality, if you put the story in order, but normally there's not a guy explaining you the film. You walk in the street, and it's maybe 3 days later that you say, God, but in fact, the only music that really existed is La Lettre à Elise, because the little girl died in the snow. So all the other music, in fact, never existed. It never existed. She created. And then in the play there was Martha Argerich that was written. The name was there. So I thought about that and how to bring, and then I had the idea that she would disguise her girl. That's why she asked her, but should I have dark hair when she was young or old? Okay, let's try old. And she disguised her girl. She just, you know, but it's not the things that I wanted to. Of course, I try to. It's important for me to share things with people who see the film, of course. But then you try to be in something where you share something that is the most precious, that are things that are very mysterious, in fact. And often in life, it's why you are attracted by somebody you can't explain. You can't. You can't put words on it. You can't.
No, actually, last time also when you were just shooting, you shot the first part and was telling about these two actors. You said they're not really actors; they're very savage people.
Yes.
So
yes, I mean, they are.
This is why you chose them. This is why.
Yeah. I mean, chosen is almost too. It's not the right word. I can't. You know, it's like the crew, in fact. It's not only actor. The people with who you do the film, the DOP, the sound engineer, the
Zorn thing also.
Yes. It's like if they were, in fact, like Barbara Hannigan yesterday, entering a troupe. Because the crew, we worked together for 20 years now. So then they were entering the troupe. And yes, they're very savage because they live in nature. Vicky, she lives. She grown up in forest, you know. And Arié, he can disappear 2 years. You don't know where he is. He just went walking somewhere. No, really. He's in Canada right now, somewhere. He's incredible. So what was nice is, as we were shooting in the mountains, he would always come in advance to go away and walk in the Pyrenees that he knew already by heart. So that's how we invented the scene where they are in the bed together. I had the idea that there would be only one scene where they are, Vicky and Arié, in the same frame. That would be the discotheque, when she, after the snow, after you hear the people say, we have to wait for the spring, for the bodies to come back. And she goes in the car, and she goes back to the origin, you know, just where did everything, the origin is, why did I kiss this guy in this discotheque? That's where it started. Why did I go in the car? And when you see it the second time, it's true, you hear very clearly, où est-ce que tu m'emmènes? Where are you bringing me to? But it's those sentences, you know, when I was thinking of course, not tragic stuff, but in fact it's tragic when you split in a love, when a love, a separation. We're really totally in delirium in those moments. All sorts of delirium. So you don't believe it. She still loves me. He still loves me. In fact, he doesn't know that he still loves me. And in fact, and then you imagine the other, and then, I mean, and then when you talk, the other person tells you that the past is not at all what she lived with you. But didn't we live that moment? No, it wasn't that. So the past, the common past, doesn't exist anymore. It's terrible. So the present is torture. So the only thing that is left is a future. So I was really thinking of this state of love separation. That is exactly the same thing than death. No, really. I mean, you just want to die, or it's so.
Thank you.
No, but yeah, that's what you work with. But for that, you have to write a lot. You have to write a lot before, so that then you can. You do a lot of hypotheses, and then you rewrite in the morning, and you give at the last moment to the crew. And it creates something a bit alive. Yeah.
Any questions? Hi. No.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Question?
I understand the story now after the talk.
Yeah, but in fact that's because you didn't have time to walk in the street. Don't worry, you would have. And it's not a police film, huh? It's not a whodunit. It's. Well, you understand that they were dead.
Now I understand completely, but I didn't understand.
No, you can't understand. It's normal. You do like her. It's denial. Because you can't live with that. It's impossible. So, but then one day, maybe in a week, I don't know, it would have just. I was really thinking of a film where, but often, sincerely, there are films that you think you love when you see them, and then 3 days after, it's, why don't I don't think about it anymore. And there are films, you don't get them, and in fact, they continue to grow, you know? So, it's like that.
This is one of those.
I don't know, but I mean, I was really thinking of my own experience as a spectator sometimes. Yes.
And you totally caught this in this movie, and I wanted to say that you're wonderful, and that's why you made a wonderful movie.
No, but I mean, the right really, that it's, she would play, for example, there would be italic, how do you say italic when the letters are, yeah, that would be mixed with normal writing, and we knew that the voice would be part of the pleasure that we could use, and we would do the voice during the shooting with Vicky, and we would do several hypotheses. Sometimes I would film and I would say, tell the words in your head. Then in the car, for instance, now tell them aloud. And you see two ways, and or then I would tell her a sentence that she would say, and that's why it had to be in direct sound, the moment where he has her voice in their head. It couldn't be done 3 months later in a studio. I mean, and sometimes it was during the confinement, we had almost finished the editing, and boom, everything stopped. And so I would call Vicky, she was in Berlin, stuck in Berlin, and I said, can you send me my phone, this sentence? And I tried things. It was, but that was really in the, we hear voices all the time, in reality, I'm sure. I mean,
May I?
everybody does that. Everybody does that.
One question.
Where are you? Oh, yeah.
How long did it took you, the whole project, to write the screen and to shoot the movie?
To write, it was quite quick. I did the first version in 9 days. But that was really because I was totally just crying. You have to write it like, so it went very quickly. Then I wrote another version where there was work and like also something that would be shareable for people so that they want to give money to the film, you know. It's really important, and I like this moment because I take it like a letter, in fact. A lot of people separate artistic from money, but then don't do cinema. I mean, money is artistic. No, it's true. It's so expensive, so that you have to, where you put the money is directing. Producing and directing is exactly the same gesture, exactly the same thing. And I don't need to be in conflict with my producer. Some people just need that, because I'm an artist. I don't get it. Then be a painter. I don't know, and those artists, they make a great living, you know. I mean, it doesn't for me exist in cinema. It's not an art. It's you do what you can with the time you have, and I love that. And so I write quickly, and then we decided immediately that it would be in 3 seasons, and we were ready to shoot in spring. So we shot in spring for 6 days, I think, the first time. In spring, we edit, then we shot 4 weeks in November, and then 5 days in January, end of January 2020. So it's 19, 20. And then we were ready to present the film to the people of Cannes if they wanted the film or not. We were ready to show it, but then the COVID arrived. So it was quite quick, but in fact in almost 1 year. The time between the shooting was very important also, because life continues and there is marriage, there are births, there are people who die, and we were full of all that, or the whole crew, when we would see each other again in the house. And there's not a lot of actors in the film, because sometimes I sort of invent the scene at the last moment, so there's not really the time to find actors. So there's a lot of people from the crew, in fact. And yeah, the two guys, the guys with the hair, he's from the decoration. Everybody was in love with him, so. And he was waiting for a baby. So, and normally he's totally Rasta. And he had hair, so. And the other guy, who says, you have a great car, and she says, okay, so what about me? And because he's the light department, and we always call him Clark Gable, because he has his truck. He always has cigars in his truck, and he's always, very cool. So for me, it was fun that he didn't say the right thing at the right moment. That shit. He looked at the car. And all the people that you see worked in the place that we chose, in fact. So the woman Kuka, who plays in the mountain chalet, she works there. The woman in the cafe, she works there. I mean, it's. Because in those moments, in fact, you really need the warmth of the people outside. That's why her friends from the gas station say, hey, don't stay in the house. You have to get out now. We had written all that. I know exactly what she did after the phone call. We filmed the phone call. When she receives the phone call and they say, well, they didn't come back at the chalet, and she goes, and then what does she do? She takes medicine. I mean, of course she takes medicine. Of course she goes in a hospital. We filmed all that. We filmed the scene. Even Vicky got sick. She went so far in that scene in the hospital. But we took it out from the editing because it was like if... but in fact, it's the story of a woman who's crazy. So it's not about me, it's like you were observing somebody. And we took it out. And so I knew exactly. So, and then, of course, her friend says, she can't stay in the house like that. Go out, take the car, I don't know, go away. Okay, I'll try to go away. The sea, she doesn't care about the sea. I did all the thing in order. You have to do all the thing in order. But if the story had been told in order, it would have been just the story, and you would have understand everything, of course. But it would have been the story of being in the grief of a woman who, after an accident, has to wait for the spring for the bodies to come back. I mean, that's the story, you know? If you put it in order. But I couldn't find a way to have fun with cinema if it had been told like that. But for the actors, for the crew, it was.
I have just one comment.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this movie. It was really touching, and the first impulse I had, really heavy impulse, was just to run away and aller serrer quelqu'un très fort. Voilà. Thank you very much.
Yeah, she really gives this to yeah. Of course, I know. And I like all those things when you are a spectator of a film and you don't know exactly the characters and you start to judge her almost and say, hey, how can you leave your children like that? What is this? And the guy, well, he's not bad looking. He doesn't seem to be a monster. What happened? What happened? Did he beat the children? Sometimes, because he can look scary sometimes, Arié. So you can even imagine, something maybe happened. And, of course, she's leaving for a lover. But that's your story. That's what is incredible as a spectator when you watch a film. All the things that go through you that are not in the film. I love it. Yeah, and then, no. But she's gonna be okay.
Right.
Sometimes I write letters to Clarisse that I send to Vicky. What is she doing now? Where is she working? She's okay.
She sends postcards back? Is she sending
no, I don't want her
back?
to. No, I don't. Not that crazy. I know she's not real. But Vicky does, I'm sorry. Yeah. I didn't leave you speak. I spoke all the time. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
But we can go on.